2.5 लाख मुसलमानों को बेरहमी के साथ कत्ल किया गया। भारतीय फ़ौज और उस वक़्त पटियाला की फ़ौज भी जम्मू लाई गई थी। 2.5 लाख लोग जो यानी तस्लीम शुदा फिगर है। वैसे आम लोग जो वहाँ उस वक़्त के ज़िंदा हैं वो कहते हैं कि नहीं, 5 लाख के करीब लोग थे जिनको मारा कत्ल किया गया बेरहमी के साथ। उनकी लड़कियाँ अगवा की गईं और उनके बच्चों को पाँव तले रोंद डाला गया। तो ये सारे सितम जो हैं ये हमने सहे हैं।
बड़ा जुल्म हुआ जम्मू वालों को, बड़ा नाकाबिले बयान मैं कह सकता हूँ। मैं क्या बेटा, मेरे में हिम्मत नहीं है, मैं बाबा क्या बयान करता, सब्र खो देता हूँ।
जवान बच्चियां ले गए उठाकर, फिर उधर एक कुरान था, एक कुरान था, एक कुरान था, एक कुरान था बेटा जी, एक कुरान था। वो शहर से 3 मील के फैसले पर ले जाकर आगे वो हिंदू सिख जो भी जिसके हाथ में था उसने मारा, उसने ज़बह किया जम्मू वालों का ज़बह किया।
Our pledge to the people of Kashmir, if you like the people of this world, that this matter could be affirmed or cancelled by the people of Kashmir according to their wishes.
The SHRC has given its report, the State Human Rights Commission, and it seems to be quite an explosive report. That it has said the more than 2,700 unmarked graves, there are 2,156 bodies which have been found which are unidentified. It's really come down, made clear what has been known in Kashmir for quite some time, that there have been a number of people who've disappeared over the last 20 years.
And the fact is that in these graves, only 500 odd people have been identified. What about the thousands who haven't? Not just in this lot of graves, but so many mass graves that are unearthed every now and again. It's really confirming what a lot of individuals like Parveena Ahangar, other groups, civil rights people have been saying for a long time, that people have disappeared, hundreds and thousands have disappeared. I mean, in Kashmir you have this whole concept of half widows, women who are still waiting for their husbands to come back. So, you know, you're really in that kind of a position where people just are picked up from their homes and they disappear without trace.
On humanitarian questions, with a call for an independent and impartial investigation and accountability for alleged disappearances. It's true that these discoveries of unidentified graves go back to 2006.
खोल तो जो नबरमिस दरवाजा जाल दरवाजा ये मे गो मान अथस आई मे 2-3 बे मे निकिस मान 2-3 अथ सै मगर अमिस क्रख च खून वुचान यपर मान अशकिन अमिस कहर खून अमिस वो खून गो अमिस मान यपर भूत गो अमिस बर खूर सै मे ते अथ बरन अम क्या करे मतलब अंदर कर पे जाय मज बिहत मा द्राय नबर वेबर खुदा दिन माफी कन लगाय ये क्या मिसाल मुजाहिद क्या गन
I can say is that an Indian variant of genocide is happening in Kashmir.
Massive protests erupted after Modi revoked the special status of the Indian-controlled part of the Muslim-majority region. Human rights groups say Modi's government then carried out widespread torture, extrajudicial killings, arbitrary arrests and other crimes in Kashmir. On August 5th, a complete communication blackout was imposed on Kashmir. The internet is still cut off and only some phone lines have since been restored.
क्या? आजादी का मतलब क्या?
Today, it's the densest military occupation in the world, made more dense in August, on the 5th of August, by another 50,000 troops that were flown in to deal with the possible fallout of what would happen after this abrogation. Now, there is no voice that's coming out of Kashmir. That's why I said the silence is the loudest sound. Everyone, whether it's the major politicians, whether it's boys who throw stones on the street, whether it's businessmen, lawyers, everyone is in jail. Even now. You know, then they cut off phones, they cut off the internet. I mean, can you imagine, when has it been done before? 7 million people, communication lockdown. People don't know whether their children have died, whether they are alive. At night, police and soldiers are going into people's houses, arresting them. You know, so we actually don't even know the level of horror that has happened. And now the fact is that some phone lines have been restored, but still the internet has not been restored.
The tensions in the region have increased following the announcement by the Indian government on 5th August of the revocation Article 370 that grants a partial autonomy to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. This step has been accompanied by restrictions of fundamental rights and freedoms. The Indian government has deployed a significant number of additional military and paramilitary troops in Kashmir and along the line of control. The action was presented by the Indian government as a means to prevent violent protests.
On the 5th August, when India went against 11 United Nations Security Council resolutions, which say that Kashmir is a disputed territory and the people of Kashmir have the right of self-determination. Illegally, they revoked Article 370, which gave Kashmir the special status. They got an extra 180,000 troops there. Total number of security forces in Kashmir now are 900,000. And they put 8 million people of Kashmir under curfew. 100,000 Kashmiris have died in the past 30 years because they were denied the right given by the United Nations, the right for self-determination. 13,000 boys have been picked up and taken to God knows which destinations.
children by an estimate since this clampdown 13,000 बच्चे जो हैं वो गायब हो गए हैं. So forces feel very angry when they see a young Kashmiri boy. It has to be a stone pelter or some sort of an anti-social, undesirable.
डिटेल पेरेंट्स को जाके जेल के बाहर लिस्ट में देखना पड़ता है, तब उन्हें पता लगता है कि क्या हालत है उनके बच्चे कौन सी जेल में.
हमें वो माएँ भी मिली जिनके बच्चों को छोड़ने के लिए उनसे पैसे की मांग की गई.
मैक्सिमम 8 बजे तक घर की लाइटें बंद होंगी कि एक छोटी बच्ची जो पढ़ाई कर रही थी, रात के 8 बजे से ज्यादा टाइम हो गया था, उसके घर पहुंचे और उसके साथ बदसलूकी की उसकी माँ ने उसको बचाया. अगले दिन उसके बाप और भाई को पकड़ के ले गए. कि किस तरीके से जब वो लड़कियां जिन्होंने नकाब डाला हुआ होता है वो ड्यूटी के लिए आ रही होती है, तो रास्ते में आर्मी उनका नकाब छीनती है, उनके साथ बदसलूकी होती है.
हमने उनको बोला भी कि आप मारो मत, गोली मारो, गोली चलाओ. हम खुदा से मांगते थे कि गोली लगाए, क्योंकि उनके जो वो टार्चर बर्दाश्त नहीं होता. लात भी मारा, डंडे भी मारा, पावर भी लगाया, केबल से मारा. हम हम बोल रहे थे हमारा कसूर क्या है, कुछ नहीं सुना, हमें किसी की नहीं सुना, ना कुछ बोला, सिर्फ पीटते थे. हर जगह मारा, हर जगह, जिस्म पे हर जगह मारा. पावर टच इसलिए देते थे वो कि हम मारने से बेहोश होते थे, फिर वो टच देते थे, उससे हमको होश आता था। फिर वापस मिट्टी डाली मुंह में, चलाओ मत, चलाओ मत, चलाते क्यों हो?
थोड़ा होश में था, ऐसा उन्होंने खींचा, मुझे लगा शायद उन्होंने मुझे दांत ही निकाले, इतना ज़ोर से खींचा। फिर जब मैं फिर से बेहोश हो गया तो मेरे पर एक लड़का था, उन्होंने बोला कि उन्होंने जलाने की कोशिश की।
मैंने अपने जो दोनों हाथ निकाले, फिर यहाँ पर रस्सी बांधी, उन्होंने टांगों पर भी रस्सी बांधी और उल्टा लटकाया। फिर बहुत ज़्यादा मारा, तकरीबन 2-2.5 घंटे तक टांग में। फिर ये जो ऊपरी हिस्से
all mass rapes cases against women to United Nations to investigate. And I'm going to refer to my own home state of Kashmir, which has been occupied by India since 1947 against the will and wish of the people of Kashmir. More than 10,000 women are being raped by Indian Army. More than 10,000 women.
Mindset and the idea like this is really very, very dangerous for Kashmir, because it is aimed actually at isolating Kashmir, destroying its economy, dehumanizing the situation.
The Secretary General is also concerned over reports of restrictions on the Indian side of Kashmir, which could exacerbate the human rights situation in the region.
I am deeply concerned about the impact of recent actions by the government of India on the human rights of Kashmiris, including restrictions on internet communication and peaceful assembly, and the detention of local political leaders and activists. Process rights are respected for those who have been detained. It is important that the people of Kashmir are consulted and engaged in any decision-making processes that have an impact on the future.
You can't ignore the fact that Kashmir is a disputed territory, recognised as such by the United Nations. It's effectively been under military occupation, with an army that's been allowed to maim and murder without any proper supervision or jurisdiction. And communication bans, loss of any sort of sense of self-determination must feed a sense of injustice in
जम्मू कश्मीर के अवाम की गालिब अक्सरियत जो भारत का वहाँ फौजी ताकत की बुनियाद पे कब्ज़ा है, उस कब्ज़े से हम आज़ादी हासिल करना चाहते हैं। ये जो हिंदुस्तान से आज़ादी हासिल करना, ये हमारा पैदाशी और बुनियादी हक है। इसको आप चाहे 8 लाख के बजाय आप सारी जो हिंदुस्तान की फ़ौज है, वो सारी फ़ौज आप कश्मीर में जमा करें, लेकिन आप जज्बे आज़ादी को दबा नहीं सकेंगे।
Kashmir is a place which was an independent kingdom of its own before partition. And
Kashmir has never been an integral part of India. Even the Indian government has accepted in the UN that it's not an integral part of India.
The position of the United Nations on this region is governed by the Charter of the United Nations and applicable Security Council resolutions. The Secretary General also recalls the 1972 Agreement on Bilateral Relations between India and Pakistan, also known as the Simla Agreement, which states that the final status of Jammu and Kashmir is to be settled by peaceful means in accordance with the Charter of the United Nations.
Kashmir is a situation in which anything can happen at any time, and it's like a pressure cooker.
There is only one viable, long-term and peaceful solution. That is the self-determination of the people of Kashmir. That is what the United Nations laid down in 1947.
If we profess our belief in human rights and religious freedom, then why are we silent? And the most fundamental right, the right to self-determination, has been denied to the Kashmiris for more than 70 years. How long do we stay silent?
The world community must give the people of Kashmir the right of self-determination.
हम पाकिस्तानी हैं, पाकिस्तान हमारा।